Welcome back to Coffee Meets Murder. I'm Levon.
And I'm Janelis.
And make sure you get your coffee, get comfortable, because this one's going to take a while.
And this is Coffee Meets Murder.
Yep. What do you got?
What do I got? Why don't we talk about what we drank last week? We went to Cujo's
Coffee Shop.
What did you have?
The guayaba and queso.
Ooh, did you like that one?
It was really good.
It was. I tried it and it tasted nice. It tasted nice. I like the vibe of the place too.
It's really good.
I think that.
They're opening up, so they're just a truck. Like what is that? That's what it is.
It's like a trailer. It's like a trailer that they make. It's like a makeshift coffee shop trailer.
Yeah, but they're going to establish themselves into an actual like a brick and mortar place,
Right, an actual coffee shop area. Yes, they're in construction on that. I had the banana bread one that it was good. It was good. I liked it. It's creamy. I would have it again, but they only had it that last day because it was like a May thing? Of the month type of menu. But they also have they have quite some bit of food, and they have obviously like their set menu, which I recommend you go if you're in the Hialeah, Florida area.
Yes.
Pretty good. Would go again.
Yeah, 100%.
I would go again. Yeah. But as we all know, the show must go on. We found a new place.
Yeah. Not because the other one was bad, but we're just trying different places.
Local places, right? Local places, because we all know that when we're in a rush, we'll go through the drive-thru in Starbucks or some Dunkin' Donuts now have drive-thrus.
And it's not saying that Starbucks is bad or Dunkin' Donuts is bad, but
we want to give local coffee shops a try as well. Maybe we find a favor and that becomes our Starbucks, you know? But this one's a little farther from us, I think. It is called.
This one's I think like
Wynwood area in Florida.
Yeah.
It's called Libertino.
Yes.
That's the place called. Yeah. Yes, Libertino. It looks like a really big breakfast spot, but they have their coffee.
They say that their coffee is like number one. I mean,
if I had a coffee shop, I would say it's number one too.
Yeah,
like who's gonna stop me?
Very true.
But looking at the coffee, Levon, they have protein.
Yes.
They have protein options.
So I can continue my my weight loss
your
journey.
Your little weight loss journey. I think I'm gonna hop on it with you.
I've lost a lot of weight.
I'm glad. I'm glad you're getting summer ready.
By the time that this airs, it has been. I gotta look at my calendar.
Oh, they have a creme brulee cube. I'm looking at the menu. What is this creme brulee cube? It's honestly tasty. It looks tasty. But while Levon looks at that, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to get for coffee. They do have protein coffees, but oh my goodness.
So I will have the protein latte. Plenty.
Okay.
Which is iced almond latte, peanut butter plant, and based protein by Plenty.
Hey, I think that's all they have.
No, they have a protein matcha.
No, like that's all they have for coffee.
Is it?
Yup, they only have the protein ones. Those 3 protein ones.
No, they have more.
Where?
Yeah.
They have the hot ones. Where is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I want what is it, like a regular latte one that comes with the croissant that you dip in it, like if it was chocolate.
Yeah.
Well, I want that one. I saw a video of it, and it looked really good, so.
Well, that is the next place we're going to try, and then the next episode you will...
That's not very diet-friendly, but...
Get the review.
Oh, well.
But, like I was saying before, it'll be 21 days since I started, so... Yeah.
Well, from what I've heard so far, you're making progress in what your goal is, so hopefully you keep going.
Yeah, it's been great.
And you get to where you want to get to, sir.
Hopefully.
You will. This week is Levon's case. Levon, what do you have for us?
So, this one's about another American serial killer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And his name is?
Samuel Little.
I've not heard about this one.
Never?
If I did, I forgot.
Well, buckle up.
Okay.
So let's start at the beginning, because the context to this guy is going to matter. And Samuel Little was born Samuel McDowell on June 7th, 1940 in Reynolds, Georgia. A small town. Oh my God. It's like every word is like a small town.
It's just so hard for you.
Depression era America. A time and place where being poor and black meant the world had already dealt you a difficult hand before you drew your first breath.
1940s.
Yes. His mother, Bessie May, was a teenager. By Little's own account, she worked as a lady of the night. Do you know what a lady of the night is?
A sex worker, prostitutes, and so forth.
Yeah. Not to like make fun of anybody, but I always thought, I learned the title Lady of the Night, bro, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And I find it so funny.
I like it better than a prostitute or a sex worker. Like, I'm a lady of the night.
Lady of the night.
You know.
So the census records from 1940 list his father as a 19-year-old Paul McDowell. And almost immediately after Little was born, his mother abandoned him. So let that...
The lady of the night went into the night.
Yeah. Imagine an infant boy and his mom is just gone.
Oh, now we have mommy issues. Great.
His family relocated from Georgia to Lorain, Ohio, a working-class industrial city on Lake Erie. And it was there, raised primarily by his grandmother, that Samuel Little spent his childhood. Now, because of millions have difficult childhoods and never hurt anyone, right? Millions of people have difficult childhoods.
Mm-hmm.
But what we know about Little's inner life as a child is genuinely disturbing. By his own admission, he began experiencing sexual fantasies about strangling women when he was very young.
Why? Yeah. Where did you even learn this knowledge to even fantasize? He
claimed it started when he was a kindergartner.
Goodbye.
And watched his teacher touch her own neck.
Like, imagine you're just scratching your neck and that's what a little kid is thinking about you.
Right there, bro. You just planted something in that kid's head.
I mean, teachers are supposed to plant something in people's mind. But not that. Definitely not that. Actually, I would have never thought that is what a child, let alone a kindergartner, is thinking.
Yeah. That image lodged in his brain in a way that most of us cannot comprehend.
Yeah.
Kind of disturbing.
Exactly. No, it's very disturbing. Not kind of.
As a teenager, he collected true crime magazines.
Oh, okay.
Specifically, ones that depicted strangulation of women. He sought out that material.
Yikes. That's so bad. Isn't that like a red flag?
Extremely. But I mean, if...
I mean, okay, no, but think about it. We watch all these true crime stories, documentaries, episodes, movies, etc. Some of us read books about it. Some of us go online and read articles about it.
Yeah.
Does that make us like some sort of, No, but like, is it weird?
I think it's a little weird. I think to other people, it might be weird.
Well, around that time, 1940s, I think it could be weird.
Yeah.
Especially because you have to think about it. Is it weird? Like, maybe it's just a topic you like to read or learn about, and the only way to do it is through reading, because computers, internet, and all that stuff in the 1940s wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
So you would, like, when was the last time you saw a magazine? That's not a story you were like, let me read it and buy it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Is it really that weird? It's very niche because it's only about women who have been strangled throughout these cases.
Right.
But at the same time, like, isn't it niche when like, let's say I only want to look at documentaries or learn about cases that are about serial killers only?
Yeah, I could.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I can also just be like all about disappearances only. or about cold cases.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, in that time, it's weird, but not weird at the same time.
Yeah.
It's weird because there's so many other things you can, like, be very focused on. I don't like, people like to do puzzles.
In that
like,
time, yeah.
Yeah, or like, you know, read romance novels. Definitely. Or, you know, engineering books. And you're out here wanting to learn about, like, true crime. Women. Yeah. Specifically strangling women. Red flag, but at the same time also...
Huge red flags. So...
I can see why somebody would be like, I guess, and just move on with their life.
But I guess nobody knew what he was doing. By 1956, he was 16 years old and already in trouble with the law. He was convicted of breaking and entering into a property in Omaha, Nebraska.
Never mind.
And sent to juvenile institution. The booking card listed his mother's whereabouts as simply unknown. She never came back for him. And he never, as far as we can tell, formed any stable attachment to anyone who might have redirected what was growing inside him. So
you think that maybe the mom saw something in him?
No, not as an infant.
You never know. Kindergarten talking about, I want to strangle this teacher.
As an infant. Not as a kindergartner. She left him as an infant.
As an infant, aren't you like 2?
No, you're
a baby
child.
I'm Googling.
You do that. He attended Hawthorne Junior High School in Lorain. He took up boxing. He was, by accounts, physically powerful, broad-shouldered, muscular, and the kind of presence that commanded attention in a room. And he learned early that his size and strength could be used as a weapon.
Infants are usually from birth up to 12 months of age.
Told you.
Little kids at 1 can do some crazy stuff. Go ahead.
I'm sure they can. By 1961, when he was 21, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison for breaking into a furniture store back in Lorain. He was released in 1964, and by that point, the pattern of his adult life was already established. Move, commit crimes, get arrested, serve minimal time, move again. One of the things that made Samuel Little so extraordinarily difficult to catch was that the way he lived. He was not rooted anywhere. He had no permanent address, no steady job, no family anchoring him to a community. He lived out of his car. He drifted from city to city, state to state, across decades. He moved to Florida in the late 1960s to live with his mother, the woman who had abandoned him as an infant.
A complete stranger.
A complete stranger to him. What that reunion looked like, we have no idea. What we do know is that he started taking odd jobs. He worked at a cemetery for a period of time, and he worked as an ambulance attendant, and he kept getting arrested. And by 1975, just 15 years into his adult life, Samuel Little had been arrested 26 times across 11 states.
Say it again?
He was arrested by just 15 years into his adult life. So in 1975, Samuel Little had been arrested 26 times across 11 states. 26 arrests, charges including theft, assault, attempted rape, fraud, armed robbery, driving under the influence, solicitation, and attacks on government officials.
Lock this man up already. What?
Yeah, 26 arrests, and
he's such a danger to society.
Able to walk free.
Able to walk free, but such a danger to society.
He also maintained a long-term girlfriend.
Okay, who?
A woman named Oriella Dorsey. Their relationship is one of the stranger footnotes in this whole story. Dorsey supported them both primarily through shoplifting. She was apparently very good at it.
Oh, like mother, like son.
They had met under extraordinary circumstances. In 1971, Little had been arrested in Cleveland with another girlfriend, Lucy Madero, for robbing a gas station. While Madero was in jail, she was placed in a cell with Oriella Dorsey, a stranger. Madero, apparently not thinking clearly, confided in her new cellmate, and she intended to testify against Little. Dorsey passed that information to Little.
Betrayal.
When that case went to trial in 1972, Little's defense team was prepared for Madero's testimony.
It's like betrayal all around.
Yeah. And he was found not guilty.
Wow.
And Dorsey, she became his partner, his companion, the woman who stayed by his side until she died of brain hemorrhage in Los Angeles in 1988. We don't know how Dorsey knew. We don't know what she suspected, but she was there beside him for nearly 2 decades. So now let's talk into the 1980s. Because this is where Samuel Little and all his crimes began to come into sharper focus. And when the failures of the system become truly impossible to ignore. In 1982, Little was arrested in Pascagoula, Mississippi, in connection with the murder of a 22-year-old Melinda Rose Lapre. She had gone missing in September of that year, and a grand jury reviewed the evidence and declined to indict him, and he walked.
Wow.
Yep.
He keeps walking free.
Yep. That same year, he was extradited to Florida to stand trial for the murder of 26-year-old Patricia Ann Mount, whose body had been found in September of 1982. Prosecution witnesses placed Little with Mount the night before she disappeared. He was acquitted in January of 1984. Oh my God.
Like, he keeps...
Jurors
okay, I have a question. I have a
testimony.
question. When one person goes in trial for a case, that stays with you. In the sense that, like, it's like a record, so to speak, where...
Yeah.
Okay. All these people that come after he was acquitted for the first and second and third murder, doesn't that play a part into, like, maybe he did do it?
Perhaps.
Because it's like, one, okay, bad luck, you know, wrong place, wrong time, it looks like you're guilty, you know, whatever, you get acquitted, move on. A second and third time?
Yeah.
That seems suspicious at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's already suspicious. 1, get acquitted, okay, whatever, my bad. 2 and 3 and 4? That, no, somebody's not doing their job.
So, hang on to that.
Oh, okay.
Then, in October of 1984, he was arrested in San Diego. Not for murder this time, but for what he actually did to a woman named Lori Barrows, who was 22 years old. He kidnapped her, he beat her, he strangled her. She survived. 1 month later, just 1 month, police found Little in the backseat of his car in the same location with another unconscious woman who had been beaten and strangled. A different woman, but the same spot. He served 2.5 years in prison, 2.5 years for 2 brutal strangulation attacks.
2.5 years for attempted murder?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
He was released in February of 1987. He immediately moved to Los Angeles, and within that year alone, he killed at least 10 women.
Wow.
Just that year.
He could have been in prison already for 1.
Correct.
And he's done how many? Over 10.
Deaths? 10. 10 women so far.
Right, but if you accumulate the time that he's tried, it's over 10.
Well, yeah, it's at, from what we've counted so far, like that we read, we're at 12 that he's killed. Remember, because he got acquitted and he got not guilty.
Yeah, that counts too. I'm pretty sure that was him.
So he nearly strangled 2 women to death in San Diego. He gets out of prison. He drives to Los Angeles, and the killings accelerate. Among the women he murdered in Los Angeles in 1987, a woman he remembered only as Granny was around 50 years old. Multiple black women in their 20s, none of whom have ever been conclusively identified. He was moving through the city like a ghost, and nobody was connecting the dots because the dots weren't being drawn. You know?
Yeah, people weren't doing their jobs.
One central truth of this case, and Samuel Little knew it, he exploited it deliberately, is that his victims were chosen specifically because he believed the world would not look for them. He said it himself. He targeted women who were sex workers, women experiencing homelessness, and women dealing with addiction. He believed, and he was largely correct, that their deaths would attract minimal police attention, generate minimal news coverage, and leave fewer people searching for answers.
I feel like I've heard, or we've covered other cases where they think that because these people are from a certain group, people aren't going to be looking for them or care about them, so it's okay. Like, that's how they rationalize it in their brain. Yeah. It's not okay, but
it's not okay.
That's how they rationalize it. That it's fine because no one's going to look for them anyways. Nobody cares about these people, so who cares?
It's sad to think that.
It's sad because to a certain extent, these groups of people are vulnerable. So you're preying on vulnerable people, like, instead of picking on someone your own size, so to speak.
Yeah. Many of the deaths he caused were never classified as homicides because he strangled his victims. No stab wounds, no bullets. And because he dumped their bodies in remote locations or left them.
Wait, when you strangle someone, it's not considered a homicide?
It is considered a homicide.
You just said the opposite, didn't you?
But I don't know what to tell you. Back in 19...
wasn't?
I was born in 19...
Is that why maybe he didn't get, like, a maximum sentence, or...
Could be.
I mean, you're killing someone. Does it matter how you kill them?
I don't think so.
Oh, well.
But Los Angeles, California...
says otherwise.
They
was it with the bullet? It was with hands, so is it?
No stab wounds, no bullets. And because he dumped their bodies in remote locations or left them in places where decomposition was advanced before discovery, the cause of death was often listed as an overdose, exposure, or undetermined. Some were never found at all. You get it now?
Yeah.
In cases where remains were discovered, they were often already skeletal. Without DNA technology, which didn't become widely available until the 1990s, there was almost no way to determine what had happened to these women. And here's the deeper structural failure. The women little targeted were not being entered into missing persons databases. Their families, often struggling with poverty or addiction themselves, didn't always file reports. Some women were so transient that nobody even realized they were gone.
So he really looked for women that were not going to be looked for.
Yep. The FBI's VICAP unit would later say that many of Little's killings were originally attributed to causes other than homicide, meaning these weren't just unsolved murders. They were being treated as murders. They weren't being treated as murders at all.
Oh, wow.
He hid in plain sight because society had already decided these women were invisible. It is now September 5th, 2012, and Samuel Little is a 72-year-old. He's at the Wayside Christian Homeless Shelter in Louisville, Kentucky. And police arrest him on narcotics warrant out of Los Angeles. This is a routine arrest. Little had been arrested dozens of times. He knows the drill. He knows not to worry, obviously. But this time, something is different. In California, authorities run his DNA against cold cases, and they get hits. They get 3 of them. Linda Alford, 41 years old, murdered July 13th, 1987. Her body had been found in Los Angeles Alley, nude from the waist down. Investigators found Little's DNA on her underwear and under her fingernails, where she had scratched at her attacker. Audrey Nelson Everett, 35 years old, found August 14th, 1989. She was discovered in a dumpster behind a nightclub and a restaurant, naked from the waist down, having been beaten repeatedly on the head before being strangled. No identification on her body. Nothing.
Wow, how sad.
Guadalupe Duarte Apodaca, 46 years old, found September 3rd, 1989, at an abandoned auto repair shop. A boy kicking a soccer ball against the building had peered through the windows and had seen her body. Investigators determined Little had knelt on her chest and strangled her with his bare hands. 3 women, 3 cold cases spanning 2 years, and his DNA tied him to all 3. He was extradited to Los Angeles, charged in January 2013. And that phone call, the LAPD calling VICAP to say, "We have this guy, can you look into him?" set off one of the most extraordinary cold case investigations in American history.
He did a lot. And I'm glad that he got convicted for those cold cases, because can you imagine that they would have never found out where these women were? Those families. It's just so hard. It's horrible.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, okay.
The FBI's Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, which is VICAP, is based in Northern Virginia. Its 10 analysts provide hundreds of leads each year to help local law enforcement solve cold cases. They maintain a national database of violent crimes and help law enforcement connect patterns across jurisdictions. Christy Palazzolo was 34 years old when she got the call about Samuel Little in April of 2013. She was sharp, methodical, and completely unfazed by the enormity of what she was being asked to do. She started building a timeline. She dug into commercial databases. Every apartment he'd rented, every hostel he'd stayed in, every odd job with a paper trail, she traced his aliases. He frequently used Samuel McDowell, his birth name. She mapped his criminal history across 11 states. She cross-referenced his known locations with cold cases in the VICAP database. The result was a 150-page document, a detailed biography of a killer's life, charted across 4 decades and dozens of cities.
Well, I mean, when you're going to trial for murder and you get, like, I mean, you don't get convicted. Hello.
Yeah.
You know, and it's happened multiple times where he goes in for murder and he comes out scot-free.
Yep.
So it's like he's possibly was that person's murderer and he kept going. Obviously he was gonna.
Which is where she goes again and again. Every little movement that he made overlapped with an unsolved strangulation of a vulnerable woman.
There you go. Right. So he just kept doing his thing because now he's going in for murder and coming out. So he's feeling like he can do whatever he wants. Yeah.
One case stood out above the rest. The 1994 murder of Denise Christie brothers in Odessa, Texas. She was 32 years old, a mother of 2. She'd been reported missing on New Year's Day, 1994. Her partially clothed body was found in bushes in a vacant lot on February 2nd. She had been strangled. Records show Little had interacted with Odessa police around the same time. He was in that city. Palazzolo said this just felt like him, like his motive.
Yeah, once you start investigating someone like that, they have like their way of doing things. Yeah. And then when you start to investigate how different murders happened, they all kind of link.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how you kind of even get to thinking, hey, maybe it could have been this person because of the way that they do it.
Yeah. So in June of 2013, VICAP issued a national alert urging detectives across the country to review their files for unsolved strangulations of vulnerable women. The following year, Palazzolo delivered her final report to the LAPD. But there was still the problem of Little himself. He refused to speak to anyone. He had beaten murder charges before. He was appealing his LA conviction, convinced he'd be free, and he had no reason to talk. And investigators had no way to force him.
You see, he thinks that he's invincible, like he said.
So December of 2017, a law enforcement conference in Tampa, Florida. Angela Williamson, Palazzolo's colleague at VICAB, a woman with a doctorate in molecular biology and extensive forensic experience, is attending a presentation by Texas Ranger James Holland. Holland was known in law enforcement circles for something specific, his ability to interview sociopaths and psychopaths, not to trick them or break them down, but to connect with them, to find the frequency they're broadcasting on and tune into it. After the presentation, 2 investigators from a Florida law enforcement agency approached Williamson and Holland. They asked if either of them knew anything about a man named Samuel Little. He'd been convicted of strangling 3 women in LA. They said they thought he might have killed others in Florida. They wanted Holland's insight. Holland and Williamson exchanged contact information, and 3 months later, in March 2018, Holland called Williamson. He said that they needed to do something about this little guy. But Williamson turned in her cubicle and got Palazzolo's attention. She told her, "I have a Texas Ranger on the phone. Do you know anything about Samuel Little?" Palazzolo nearly launched out of her chair, and she said, "You bet I do. Tell him about the Odessa case." Within weeks, the 3 of them were on their way to Lancaster, California. They were going in unannounced. No prior warning to Little, no request for a meeting. Their plan was to surprise him. And she says, "I was pretty pessimistic. I thought he would just tell us to leave. He hadn't spoken to anyone about any of this. Why would he?" Just after 10 a.m. on May 17, 2018, James Holland walked into an interview room at California State Prison, Lancaster, and sat down across from Samuel Little. Little was 77 years old, gray-haired, and in a wheelchair, though investigators noted he seemed spry despite needing it. He had a pacemaker, he had diabetes, he had survived decades of violence, arrest, and incarceration. Holland put a bag of peanut M&Ms on the table, and he started talking. Not about murder. No, Holland started talking to Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
Not about murder, not about DNA or cold cases. He talked about boxing. He talked about Little's life on the streets. He played to the man's ego. Told him the FBI and the Justice Department were very interested in him, that people were paying attention. Little wasn't impressed. He'd beaten murder charges before, he said. He was going to win his appeal in Los Angeles. He'd be free soon enough. And 30 minutes passed. Nothing. In the break room down the hall, Palazzolo and Williamson sat hunched over a speaker, listening to every word. They had a table covered in crime scene photographs, police reports, and notes. They had spent years working toward this moment. They slumped in their chairs. Then Holland brought up Odessa. He mentioned Denise Christie brothers. He mentioned the vacant lot, the details, and something shifted in Samuel Little. He became animated. He started talking, and what came out of his mouth matched with startling precision. The details in the crime scene photographs and reports that Holland had brought with him. The details that had never been made public. Details only the killer would know. In the break room, Palazzolo sat up straight, and she said, "Game on." The first day and the next, Holland worked through the interviews methodically, carefully, and by the end of those 2 days, Samuel Little had described 20 separate killings in detail.
Apart from the ones that we've talked about?
Apart from the ones we've already talked about.
Good Lord.
He cataloged them like a ledger.
Ew.
Jackson, Mississippi, 1. Cincinnati, Ohio, 1. Phoenix, Arizona, 3. The analyst did the math, scribbling furiously. Then Palazzolo tried something unexpected. She took one of Little's confessions, typed the key details into Google, and stared at her screen. A result came up. A cold case. It matched. Williamson told her, "I just found one. That discovery changed everything. The team redoubled their efforts. They began racing through Little's confessions, cross-referencing against VICAP, against Google, against local police records from dozens of jurisdictions. Ultimately, Samuel Little confessed to killing, are you ready? 93 women between 1970 and 2005.
Wow. That is a record-breaking number and horrible.
18 of them in Los Angeles
What
alone.
the fuck?
His crimes stretched from Miami to Los Angeles, from the Gulf Coast to the Great Lakes, across 35 years and dozens of cities. What followed in the fall of 2018 was almost surreal. For weeks, law enforcement agencies across the country announced new confessions almost daily. It was like watching a dam break in slow motion.
Jesus.
November 9th of 2018, Little confessed to the 1996 strangulation of Melissa Thomas in Opelousas, Louisiana. November 13, 2018, he was charged with the 1994 murder of Denise Christie brothers in Odessa, Texas, the case that nagged Christie Palazzo for 5 years. He pleaded guilty on December 13th and received another life sentence. November 15th, 2018, Russell County, Alabama announced that Little has confessed to the 1979 murder of 23-year-old Brenda Alexander, whose body had been found in Phoenix City. November 16th, 2018, Macon, Georgia, sheriffs announced that he had incredibly confessed to the 1977 strangling murder of an unidentified woman and the 1982 murder of 18-year-old Fredonia Smith. November 19, 2018, Harrison County, Mississippi announced Little had confessed to the strangling of 36-year-old Julia Critchfield in 1978 and dumping her body off a cliff in the Gulfport area.
Jesus Christ.
2018, Lee County, Mississippi announced Little had admitted to killing 46-year-old Nancy Carol Stevens in Tupelo in 2005. That was his most recent known murder, just 17 years before his arrest. In 2018, Richland County, South Carolina announced his confessions to the 1978 murder of 19-year-old Evelyn Weston, found near Fort Jackson. And on it went. Louisiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Nevada, Maryland, Ohio. Each announcement, a name, a face, a story finally being told. Sometimes decades too late. On November 27th, the FBI officially confirmed that VICAP had verified 34 of his confessions and was actively working on to confirm the rest. The FBI also revealed something telling that Little's motivation for talking. He began making confessions in exchange for a transfer out of Los Angeles County Prison, where he was being held. He wanted better conditions. That's all it took. A change of scenery is all it took for him to confess to all his crimes. Wow. 30 plus years of murder, 93 lives, and he talked because he wanted a different cell block. Here is one of the most haunting details of this entire case. Samuel Little was a decent artist. Not professionally trained, he was self-taught, but he had a gift for faces. And investigators, realizing this, asked him to draw his victims from memory. And he did.
Oh, wow. Okay. Why? And he did. They'd be having the best memories ever, huh?
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, 1942, I was in the ball sack. Like, what?
Dozens of portraits, rendered in pencil and colored pencil. Women he killed years, sometimes decades earlier. He drew their faces, their hair, the way that they looked the night he met them. He drew details, a specific hairstyle, the shape of the nose, the set of someone's eyes. The FBI published these drawings, alongside his video, confessions, and case details on their website in November 2018. They asked the public, do you recognize any of these women? For some families, seeing those drawings was the first information they had received in years, or ever, about what had happened to someone they loved. At least one portrait solved the case in Akron, Ohio. Someone saw the drawing, recognized the face, and made a call. Zena Marie Jones. The 30-year-old woman Little killed in 1990, whose body was found on the Arkansas side of the Mississippi River, wasn't formally identified until April of 2022. Her family had seen the composite sketch he drew in 2018. They recognized her. 32 years after her murder, her name was finally attached to her case. And there was still drawings that remain unmatched. Women whose names we don't know. Families who haven't yet made the connection. The FBI is still asking for help. So now let's talk about what made Samuel Little's confessions both incredibly valuable and deeply frustrating to investigators, because it's a fascinating tension. His memory of the victims was described as nearly photographic. He remembered faces with extraordinary clarity, hence the drawings. He remembered where he picked up women, what they were wearing, and what they said to him. Specific details about the crime scenes. In one case, he recited a victim's last meal, and investigators were able to verify it against the autopsy report, which listed the contents on her stomach, and it matched. He remembered the curve of a particular dirt road, the location of a specific tree. Details corroborated his confession to investigators who had never shared those details publicly.
Well, I mean, that's telling. Clearly.
Yeah. This guy's a psychopath. But his memory for when was far less reliable. The investigators noted he could sometimes be off by a decade on dates. A murder he placed in 1984 might have occurred in 1974 or 1994. And he often couldn't remark the names of the towns he'd passed through. Because when you live out of your car and move constantly, as VICAP analyst Angela Williamson noted, things tend to blur. You can imagine calling a police department, Williamson said, and saying you have a potential homicide that occurred off a dirt road in 1984, or it could be 1974, or 1994.
So you just never know.
Exactly. Did they even find the body? If they did, was it just bones? That was the challenge investigators faced against and again. Little's confessions were detailed and credible, but matching them to specific documented cases required extraordinary detective work across dozens of jurisdictions, many of which had records going back 40 or 50 years.
Yeah, because he was let go so many times, so he had all this time to do whatever he wanted, and he went around a lot. So there's probably still cold cases, missing person cases where he's probably still linked to.
Yeah.
But we just don't know because he hasn't confessed.
In some cases, the crimes had never been classified as homicide at all. In others, the victims were unidentified Jane Does in databases that predated digital records. Investigators were literally visiting dusty file rooms, pulling handwritten ledgers off shelves, searching for entries that might match a killer's imprecise recollections. So there could be more that he just doesn't remember, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
right, because there's just so many.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
Let's talk about one specific investigation, because it illustrates everything about this case. The detective work, the strategy, and the strange intimacy of what it means to try to give a nameless woman her identity back. Prince George's County, Maryland, Detective Bernie Nelson gets a call from Washington, D.C. colleague. A serial killer claims he picked up a woman at Washington's old Greyhound bus terminal in 1972, drove her to a dirt road in a nearby county, and strangled her near an abandoned house. Nelson goes to the police file room. He pulls the handwritten homicide ledger from 1972. Near the end of the year, December 1st, 1972, police had recovered the skeletal remains of an unidentified white woman off a dirt road. A hunter had found her near a deserted house. about a quarter mile down a rugged road of a major thoroughfare. The medical examiner believed she was between 20 to 25 years old and estimated she had been dead for 6 to 12 months, probably strangled. Nelson then checks Little's arrest record, and on May 28, 1972, Little had been arrested at Washington's bus terminal on gun charges. He had been arrested in Florida on a rape charge 3 weeks earlier and released, meaning he was in the area, free, during the window when this woman was killed. Nelson and his boss, Sergeant Greg McDonald, traveled to Wise County, Texas, where Little is being held. They sit across from him in an interview room, and Little remembers the case, he says. He described picking up an attractive white woman at the bus station. A prostitute, he said. She learned he had a car and agreed to leave town with him. She said she was from Massachusetts. She'd just gotten divorced as she walked out of the bus station. Little recalled she tossed her purse in the air and yelled, "Wahoo! I'm free." He didn't remember her name. He didn't remember exactly where they were going. Maybe Boston, maybe Baltimore, a few miles outside of Washington. She encouraged him to pull off onto a dirt road. And there he killed her. Her last words as he choked the life from her were, "I'm too young to die." His account matched the crime scene evidence.
That's so haunting.
It's extremely...
And so sad.
Yeah, it's extremely haunting. His accounts matched the crime scene evidence. The curves in the road, the location near the specific tree where the bones were found. Nelson's goal now was to identify her. He had clues. She was from Massachusetts. She had extensive dental work from at least 2 dentists. She had just gotten divorced. And Little, this man who had killed her 50 years earlier, promised Detective Nelson a sketch of her face. He said he remembered it clearly. He remembered how her dirty blonde hair fell over his hands. He remembered how her eyes stared lifelessly up at the stars.
Ooh.
Some of the women in this case have been identified, and some have not. The woman in Prince County, Georgia, we still don't know her name.
To be so specific on those details, but not as something as simple as someone's name, is you're just a bad human being.
He's horrible.
He's horrible. Like, and the way he probably said it too. He just sat there and just like nothing. Like if we were talking about what you ate yesterday.
Yeah, to him is nothing.
To him is nothing.
One detail that came out in November of 2020, just weeks before Little's death, deserves its own moment. Little confessed to 2 murders in Florida. We know the FBI confirmed this. What makes it particularly devastating is this. For one of those Florida murders, another person had already been convicted. Yeah.
Wow.
Someone else sitting in prison for a murder that Samuel Little had committed.
So, did they take that person out?
Little died before that wrongful conviction could be fully adjudicated in public. And the details of the specific case are still being untangled. But the implications are enormous, because if Little's 93 confessions are credible, and the FBI believes they are, then how many other people might be incarcerated for murders that they did not commit? And how many cases went so cold, so unexamined, that the wrong person ended up being convicted?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know.
We don't.
And the uncertainty is one of the most disturbing legacies of this entire case.
Wow. To think that you can be in prison for something you didn't do, and the only person that can get you out is dead.
Yeah. So
I feel like that happens way too often, but yeah.
Samuel Little died on December 30th, 2020, at a hospital in Los Angeles County area. He was 80 years old. And California Department of Corrections listed no official cause of death, but he had been suffering from diabetes, heart problems, and other serious health conditions for years. Yeah, it could have been, yeah. That's what they were blaming it on, everything. He died convicted of 8 murders only. Out of 93, he was only convicted of 8. The FBI, the FBI had officially confirmed at least 60 of those killings, making him the most prolific serial killer in American history, surpassing names like Ted Bundy and John Wayne Gacy.
But you know what? Because he was only convicted of like 8, I think that's why his name isn't known as much as John Wayne Gacy or Ted Bundy.
And yet, most people still don't know his name. That's not an accident. It's a reflection of whose stories get told. The women that Samuel Little chose to kill were, in other words, selected because he believed they would not be missed, because he knew that society had already decided not to look for them. And unfortunately, he was right about the world he lived in. He was wrong to think that made it acceptable, and the work of investigators like Christy Palazzolo and Angela Williamson and James Holland and the countless local detectives who reopened dusty files and drove to remote counties to interview an old man in a wheelchair is the counter-argument, is the proof that it is never too late, that every name matters, and VICAP and law enforcement partners are still working to identify remaining victims and confirm unmatched confessions. Some of Little's drawings remain unidentified. Some of his confessions are still being matched against cold cases that haven't been formally connected. If you have any information that might help, the FBI tip line is 1-800-CALL-FBI. You can also submit a tip line, an online tip line, at tips.fbi.gov. And you can find the victim's drawings, video confessions, and case details at fbi.gov/Samuel Little. And that is it for this episode.
That was a good one. A good one in the sense that it had a lot of information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening, guys. This has been Levon's episode.
Yes.
And his case. If you guys would like to follow us on Instagram, please do so. It is Coffee Meets Murder Podcast.
Yep. And for TikTok.
For TikTok as well. And now Facebook.
Yes.
So please give us a little follow there. Interact with us if you guys want us to cover any specific case.
Yeah. You could ask us questions. You could give us suggestions for cases, for coffee, for coffee shops.
Oh, yes. We are very open. And maybe if we're in your state.
Yeah, we can visit.
We can visit your coffee shop or your favorite coffee shop.
Yeah.
You know, we're open to all that good stuff. So yeah, let us know. Thank you for listening and hope you guys come back next Wednesday.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.